So we're just going to walk you through how to make use of Padlet. So as the educator, you're going to come to padlet.com and you're going to get to this home page. It does tell you some of the recent activities that you have, and then underneath here are all the Padlets that are created that I have saved. And they will automatically save for you. So to create your Padlet, which acts like an interactive bulletin board that you can collaborate on, you're going to come up to where it says New Padlet. And by creating a new Padlet, you can set all the parameters you want, who can access it, if you want to use it just for your classroom, if you want to use it to connect with parents at home, or if you'd like to use it to collaborate with another classroom or another teacher. So automatically it generates you just a simple Padlet ready to go. And what it's going to do is walk you through the steps on how to set it up. So the first thing it's going to ask you to do is create a title for your Padlet. Call that whatever you want. And you may even post a question or a description here for your students. As you scroll down here, you're going to see that you have 3 choices for a layout. You have free form. This is the option that will allow you to click and drag the posts around and move them. You have grid, which will just automatically fill up the most maximum space. And then your streaming, which will put them in chronological order as to how they're added. So depending on what you're going to use your Padlet for, if I'm using it for a home connect piece or a homework board, I might choose stream. If I'm using it for students to share responses, I'll probably choose grid. Or if it's something that I might want to arrange and move their ideas into categories or matching, I'll choose freeform. You also then move down and you choose what wallpaper you'd like to have, which will make your background. And if you click on more, it gives you a whole bunch. So it just depends what you'd like to use. It's more of a personal choice. Sometimes the more plain ones are less distracting. There also is the ability to add your own. So sometimes what I'll do is I will actually upload an image of a Venn diagram or another type of organizer, and then I will choose the free form, which will allow me to drag posts as students add them into categories. So you can do that as well. There's themes here, but that's an upgrade, so you would actually have to pay for that. So I like to kind of just keep using it in the free version. Here you can choose little symbols, and you'll notice in the top here on the left, it's just to be creative. And again, you have a more button. So if you like to be fancy or you're putting themes on it, you may choose to do that. Down here where it says tags, that's if you want it to be a public Padlet. So you could put in keywords there. And then lastly here is your address. So when you want your students to access this, they would need to type in this address. Alternatively, what I do is I copy and paste that, and I come to this website called bit.do. And all you need to do is paste that link in, and what it'll do is it'll give you the option to create your own ending. So you can actually change that word to be whatever you want. So it makes this really long link really short. So if your students are going to be typing it in, I often will use bit.do to shorten it. It also will auto-generate a QR code. If your students have a device like a phone or a tablet that may have a QR code reader, they could simply scan that and it would take them in as well. So just a quick little tip on how to get that address out. But you also can type in that long address, which will work. Once you've made all of those choices, all you're going to do here is click Next. It's going to take you into the next set of options, which are going to allow you to set your privacy settings and your different collaboration features. And we're just having a Wi-Fi problem here, so we'll just give it a second. There we go. So the first thing it asks us is the privacy feature. You can make it private, password protected, secret, or public. If you choose password protected, it will prompt you to create a password, which you will then need to give to your students along with the link. Or you can simply use the secret one, which means anyone who you provide that link to can get in. And public is wide open. You also can choose if you want people to be able to read only or write or moderate. Read only I use for things like homework boards, or if I'm using it for parents to be able to connect with them so that they can only see posts, but they won't be able to add anything or delete anything. Writing is often where I go with my students so they can add their thoughts or multimedia pieces. And moderate is if I would like other people to be able to control this board, which means they could delete posts, change the settings, etc. You can also add contributors right here by entering their email address. So if I'm connecting with another classroom, perhaps I have 2 teachers who teach the same grade and you're going to share ideas between classrooms, you could do that. But also I use that if I'm trying to just use it for professional use. So if I can connect myself with other teachers who teach the same grade, we could all put everyone's email address in there and everyone would have access and be able to change or delete things. It's a great way to connect with other educators, share ideas, collaborate. And then lastly, down at the bottom, you're going to see this one that says moderate posts. By turning this on, what that means is whoever is adding to the Padlet, whether it's students or colleagues, you would get an email asking you to approve their post before it gets posted. So some educators will use this as a homework space where students will be prompted to add something there at home. And in that case, you may choose the moderate post just so that you can make sure that there's nothing inappropriate going on to that Padlet. So I'm going to go ahead and say next up here in the top right-hand corner again. And what it's going to do is it's going to build my Padlet and create it so it's ready to be used. And it's just having a little slow time here. And then once it's ready, all you're going to do is double click onto that red space that we've created as our wallpaper, and it's going to allow you or anyone with the link to start adding to the Padlet. And I'm just going to go ahead and close that. What I'm going to do is just take you into one of my previous Padlets. I'm going to hit the home button here. What I'd like to do is just quickly show you some of the uses I've used Padlet for in the past. So I'm going to come down to one of my old Padlets. The great thing is it stores all the information, so you can always come back and make reference to something your students did. So you'll see things here like I've given them a writing prompt and they've put a couple of sentences onto their posts. And then what we can do is go in and use this like a shared writing experience and help the students correct their writing. So I've used this for grades as low as grade 1 and all the way up, depending on the complexity of the prompt that you give them. What's great is that it allows for the students to help each other and collaborate on that. I've used it for things like book reviews. And again, you can either have every student have access to this, or if you're teaching a younger grade, you might be the recorder and you might just be inputting it for your students. But the idea is that then you could share this out to other classes, or you could come back and address it later in the year. So often, sometimes I will start a unit by students adding their thinking. What do you think about this topic? What do you know about this topic? And then as the unit goes on, I'll come back and we will add some more thinking to that board and keep our learning going. We've used things like we had an environmental week, so we had students make a pledge on how they would be positive contributors to the environment. I've used it for things like creating storyboards so that students can order beginning, middle, and end. We have them make predictions. I can use it to give out assignments. I use it sometimes when other students are presenting a project or they're learning. The rest of the class has a Padlet logged on and they're giving feedback to that student. So using it as an assessment piece. Again, you can connect with other classrooms or other teachers. You can use it for a reflection or an exit ticket. All kinds of idea. We've also used it to co-create that success criteria. So what we can do is have students add in their ideas about what they think should be there, and then we can work on it together to finalize that into whatever it is that we need to address. So again, just some different ideas. And don't be afraid, go on YouTube, Pinterest, Google, Go ahead and search around and type in uses for Padlet in the classroom, and you're going to find lots and lots of ways different educators have made use of that. So I hope that gets you started, and enjoy your use with Padlet in the classroom.